It's been 13 months since I've owned the VinFast VF9 Plus here in Vietnam, and I know that this car is still not available in North America, not available in the US, not available in Canada, but I've been owning it for over a year. And today I'm gonna give you my 1-year review of the VinFast VF9, whether this is a car that you should buy in Vietnam or in the United States. I'm gonna tell you that today. All right, let's go.
Hey Tom Peng, love what you're doing on your channel, buddy. Super congrats. You know, giving your time and energy to nonprofit business channel. Look man, keep driving that audience. So Tom Peng, look forward to spending some time with you. I know you got the right mindset, so I'd love for you to share some of that from the big V. God bless, be great. 10X.
So I've been owning the VinFast VF9 Plus for over a year, and let me tell you, this is a car that I drive myself. I use this car to pick up guests at the airport, you know, my customers from overseas. I use this car for business trips, and I am the driver of this car, no one else. I drive this car. And the reason why I only put 4,600 kilometers on this car in the last 13 months is because, frankly, I don't want to use it as much as I should because it's a big car, and sometimes it's kind of inconvenient to drive this car in the narrow streets of Saigon, or you know, in the countryside in Vietnam, where the roads can be a little bit unpredictable. It can get a bit narrow and small, and alleyways, and this is not a car that you take on trips where you are going to expect some unpredictability. All right, so if you expect to go somewhere, you don't know what the road condition is, you don't know where to park the car, and you don't know whether there's gonna be narrow street or not, you're not gonna take the VF9. I have so many cars, and each car has its own uses, its own utilization, so I don't take this car when I don't know where I'll be going. I don't know what the destination might be like, whether it's going to be easy to park or hard to park, whether there's going to be any narrow streets or not. I don't take this car. I only take this car when I know precisely well what the road condition will be, what the destination will be like, whether it's easy to park this car because it's kind of big, okay? And I only take this car when I have a lot of passengers. Like if I have like 5, 6, 7 people that I need to take with me, then I will take the VF9. It doesn't happen often. I don't normally take a group of people with me. That's why I don't put as many kilometers on this car as I should. And I do like taking the VinFast VF9 out because it has presence, right? The reason why I take this car to pick up customers from the airport is because it's Vietnamese made. It's a conversation piece. When people look at it, they say, well, what is this car? Oh, it's VinFast made in Vietnam, and it looks nice. Well, the interior looks nice. It's a big car. It looks like it's the whole package, right? It looks like it's fancy, it's luxury. And usually my guests are pleasantly surprised by it, and they're impressed. So that's why I take this car when I need to go pick up my customers at the airport, or you know, if I need to take many people to a gala event or a big event or a fancy event. Maybe some chamber of commerce is having a luxury night out, right? And I would take my staff and maybe 5 or 6 people, put in the VF9, and we drive there in the VinFast in style. I don't know if driving VinFast is considered in style, all right? But I feel that way. I feel like taking the VinFast VF9 to an event, you know, it's kind of like me driving the Bentley to the event, all right? Oh, not really. Okay, not really equivalent, but I feel that when you have a lot of people then take the VF9, the Bentley doesn't really fit that many people. Actually, my Bentley only fit really 2. All right, the back seats are completely useless. They cannot fit people, maybe small children. The Bentley is not that useful. But anyways, VF9 is very useful when you have a lot of people and you want a traveling style, you want to showcase your Vietnamese pride, take the VF9. So in the last year, what problems did I have with this car? Let me tell you, a lot. So the battery died on me many times, meaning that cannot start the car. Had to replace the battery, I think, a couple times. I'm talking about the 12-volt battery, which is really the weak point of VinFast. I don't know why they picked that particular supplier for the 12-volt battery. It's not good. The 12-volt battery that comes stock on the VinFast are generally not good. And I know that a lot of VinFast owners, they have aftermarket 12-volt battery. I didn't do it because I call VinFast. They tell me that may void the warranty, so I don't do it. But I probably should, because that is a weak point, right? The rear suspension did collapse on me one time, and we have to take the car back to VinFast, and they fixed it and never had a problem after. Didn't expect the suspension would collapse on a fairly new car. This happened maybe weeks after I got the car, so that was a surprise. And the interior pieces did actually fall apart a few times, so there's some plastic parts in the interior that would fall out. You need to snap it back, but after you snap it back, they never fall out again. I think it's just an assembly issue at the factory. Some pieces are not properly snapped in, so they fall out. Just need to properly snap them in, and they never become a problem. So there are some quality issues with the VinFast VF9. Oh, one more. In the front bonnet, there's a piece of, I guess, rubber that's coming up. When you look at the bonnet, you think it's all like steel or metal, but it's not. There's actually a piece of rubber that goes on top, and that actually is slowly becoming unglued to the actual bonnet. So that probably need to be looked at. Probably just need to put a double-sided tape in between the bonnet and the rubber piece, and that will solve the problem. So there are some quality issues with the VF9 Plus, let's just say, okay, which is a bit disappointing because this is the most high-end flagship car of VinFast. I wish the quality could be better. I do have to disclaim that I did receive one of the first VF9s here in Saigon. I was one of the 9 people to get the first 9 VF9s here in Saigon. I was quite pleased and honored by it. So of course, being an early adopter, early pioneer, the first owners of the VF9, I'm expected to have more problems, and that's just expected. And hopefully all the feedback, all the problems that I have experienced, go back to VinFast and help them improve their next iteration of VF9s. There's some things I'm not happy about VinFast and also the VF9 Plus. I can tell you one of them is the speed at which they update the software, all right? They update the software very slowly. They promised a lot when they launched the VF9 here in Vietnam. And also, I don't know if you have noticed, if you watch this video this long, then you probably noticed there's a lot of beeping. Yeah, there's a lot of beeping in this car still. I think that's a software issue, needs to be updated. There's too much alerts. Not just on the VF9, but on all of my VinFast electric vehicles. We have a lot of alerts. We have a lot of phantom errors. So if I go to the service app and I go to alerts, and you can see that right now you have some errors about the 12-volt battery. Check the 12-volt battery. I just replaced it, right? But it's telling me to check it again. And sometimes you get random errors, right? It's not showing right now, but sometimes you get random errors about the lights, about this and that, and they're all phantom because they disappear by themselves. And there's nothing wrong with the vehicle, but there's just a lot of misleading errors that show up. And this is not just a VF9 problem, this is across all the VinFast cars. I don't know why that is. It's too sensitive. I know that, for example, on my Mercedes, if you plug in the reader and you can see a lot of errors, but in the console, the Mercedes doesn't report them. But I think in the VinFast, they report every single minor issue that may come up in the car. It gives people the sense that, you know, there's a lot of problem with the car and they cannot be cleared. And I think that that's not good for VinFast. I think that's something that VinFast should address, because imagine in the United States, somebody buy a VinFast, they see like you know, like 5 errors in the dash, and then they don't know whether they're real errors or not, and they take it back to the store, and then the store person says, don't worry about it, and then it's not very good assurance. It's not good customer service, and I think that's something that VinFast need to look into quickly. You know, like, don't have all these errors that show up in the dash, especially if they're not real issues. Gotta do a U-turn here. Okay, so if VinFast can address that, I think that will bring more confidence to the driver of VinFast vehicles. I have no idea how much money I paid for this car, because apparently I don't look at the price when I buy things. But I believe it's over 1T here in Vietnam. I think 1 point something T. In Canada, in the United States, this car will be priced nearly $100,000. And do I think this car is great value here in Vietnam? I think absolutely so, because you got a 6-7 seater. It's a 6-seater really, but you can fit 7 people. I've tried it. But there's not a lot of options for 7-seaters here in Vietnam, right? So, which makes this car a pretty good value if you're in that segment. If you're looking for a big car that can carry a lot of people, this car is a pretty good option. All right, and it's priced pretty reasonably here in Vietnam. Now, in the US market, will this car sell at $100,000? My sense is probably no. There's a lot of competition in this segment. I can probably give you like 5 options right now, okay? The Tesla Y, the Cadillac Lyriq, the Ioniq 5, the other one, the other Hyundai made car, EV, that's also very good, but I cannot remember the name. There's the Mustang, there's the Audi e-tron, and there's so many options. At $100,000, I just don't feel this car can compete. It doesn't compete well in the US market. That is my worry, that this car simply will not compete in that market and it's not going to sell well. But I think VinFast has the right strategy of not just going after the US market. They're trying to go into Indonesia and India. I think that's the right strategy, because the US market is highly competitive for EVs. There's a lot of good options there. So I'm not sure this car would do well there. And this car does have performance. Not really great performance, but it does take you to 100 kilometers an hour in about 6.5 seconds. It is big, and the turning radius is shit, totally shit. If you get into a small alleyway with this car, you're fucked. I've been there, okay? If you go into a small alleyway and you need to back out, man, that's just total pain in the ass, okay? So if you know you need to go somewhere crazy, small alleyways, don't take the VF9. And the other thing about this car is the range. The range is about 220, 230 kilometers. That's probably the best you can get under normal driving conditions. It does take a long time to charge up this car because it has a big ass battery. It has a 123 kilowatt hour battery, and it takes probably up to 2 hours at a fast charging station to get it from, let's say, low 20% to 100%. I did not talk to you, VinFast. So that's the thing about the voice recognition feature, right? It talks to me when I'm not talking to VinFast, and when I really want to talk to VinFast, it doesn't give me any attention. So I find that quite annoying. Hey, VinFast! See what I mean? Ignore me. Hey, VinFast! Roll down. Of course, it doesn't understand English. I don't know what you said. The suspension, like any VinFast, is pretty shit, okay? Of all the VinFast, the best suspension is on the VF9. Naturally, because this is their premier flagship car. I would say this car has the best suspension in any of the VinFast cars, but still, it's shit. Because there's one time my father came to Vietnam, to visit me. And of course, I take the VinFast VF9 Plus to the airport to pick him up because I want to impress him with Vietnamese-made car, right? And he was sitting over there in the second row. And after driving for a while, he made this comment that, Tom, you should let some of the air out of the tires. And we did not talk about VinFast suspension or anything else. He just made that comment because he felt that the suspension was too hard. And he's a 70-year-old man and he did not feel very comfortable being bounced around in the second row. And this is in the VF9, right? So imagine what it is like in the VF8 and the VF6 and the VF5. You know, you're not gonna get very comfortable ride in any of the VinFast vehicles. And I say this not to make VinFast look bad. I say this because that's an area I think VinFast need to improve on to make this car palatable, marketable to American buyers. And if you read or if you watch many of the American reviews of VinFast, they say the same thing. They all say the same, that there's something wrong with the suspension. And I'm here to confirm that as well, that even in the VF9, the suspension is not good enough for a $100,000 car. It is terrible, all right? And this is coming from my father, who knows nothing about VinFast, but he does drive in nice cars, and he felt that in the second row, the suspension was just a bit too hard for him, all right? And I think that's something that VinFast need to look into. So in summary, would I buy this car again in Vietnam? Yes, absolutely. Do I think this car is marketable in the United States? Probably VinFast will find a very difficult time marketing this car and selling this car. They'll probably do better in other markets like Indonesia and India. Would I recommend this car to my friends? The answer is absolutely yes, because I want everybody to adopt EVs, and I want Vietnam to have an important place in EVs. So obviously I'm gonna say yes. So there you have it, my 1-year review of VinFast VF9 Plus over the last 13 months, over almost 5,000 kilometers. This is how I feel about the car, and hopefully you make your own decisions whether this is the right car for you or not, and take some fucking action. Look into the VinFast VF9 Plus, and of course, don't be a fucktard.